Hey, Popeye are the latest.
Good morning, Popeyes. Grandma watch Popeyes every morning and every night.
Greetings, viewers and subscribers. So, in today's journey, we are still driving in New York. So, continue to sit back, continue to relax, and continue to drive with me. Now, as promised, in this video, we are going to be talking about the 17-year-old. He was found guilty in the Westmoreland Circuit Court on Friday, July 1, 2022. But before I start the story, here are a few things to consider. Why is it this 17-year-old teenager's name is not being released? He was convicted for murder, among other offenses. His name is not being withheld to protect the victim because he killed the victim. Did you know that this 17-year-old, whatever sentence is given to him by the courts, at the end of his sentence, whenever he's released, all he has to do is relocate and restart life as an ordinary member of society? Do you know what I mean by that? 1. Because of his age, he will not be or was not fingerprinted. 2. His name will not be entered in any sex offenders registry as a sex offender, even though he committed some heinous acts. And 3, no one knows his name. So that's why I'm saying he can come out and live as an ordinary citizen. But the big question is, should this be allowed to happen? On the afternoon of Tuesday, June 5th, 2018, a young girl, her name is Kadeja. She was 9 years old at the time. She attended the New Works Primary School in the parish of Westmoreland. She lived at a district named Bronte, also in the parish of Westmoreland. Now, young Kadeja, she got off the bus at Bog Square and she was walking home about 3:30 p.m. She was seen walking home with a 13-year-old boy named Timoy Salmon. Write down that name. Kadeja and Timoy, they were seen by 2 other students going into bushes at Bronte to pick apples. Timoy lived in the same community of Bronte where Kadeja lived. They knew each other, and young Kadeja, she trusted Timoy because he was older than her. Now, about 6 o'clock the same day, Kadeja's family, they became concerned because she had not yet returned home from school. As a result, they started a frantic search for her. Now, during this search, Kadeja's parents, they were given information that Kadeja, she was seen going into bushes with Timoy to pick apple. As a result, Kadeja's mother went to Timoy's home to ask him about this. Timoy told Kadeja's mother that nothing no go so. Timoy's mother, who was also at the yard, she chased out Kadeja's mother out of her yard, telling her a lie them a tell upon her son. She told Kadeja's mother that her son was home from early in the afternoon. The search for Kadeja was on in earnest, and minutes to 10 o'clock the same night, the lifeless body of young Kadeja was found. She was still dressed in her uniform blouse, but her bottom half was nude. The police were informed and they went to the scene. We are told that based on preliminary checks by the police, it was determined that young Kadeja, she was sexually assaulted, then killed. So this was now an active murder investigation. Timoy Salmon, he was taken to the White House police station by his father. And let me inject this. The only reason Timoy was taken to the White House police station by his father is that they were aware that the body of Kadeja was found, and they were afraid of jungle justice because members of the community, they were incensed over the killing of young Kadeja. So the police, they interviewed Timoy in front of his father. Timoy, he denied knowing anything about young Kadeja. The police, they asked him for the uniform he wore to school that day. He told them it was at his house. So the police, they took Timoy and his father back to his home at Bronte. A khaki pants and a khaki shirt was handed over to the police. The police, they asked Timoy for the underwear that he wore to school that day. Timoy took the police to a clothesline outside and showed the police a brief that was wet and hanging out on the line. The police immediately realized that he was lying because this underwear was too big. It was more like his father's underwear. The police, they became more suspicious and requested that he show them other underwear from his collection. The underwears he showed the cop were much smaller than the one that was on the clothesline. The police, they then instructed Timoy to remove the underwear that he was wearing. We are told that when the police asked him this, he became nervous and started trembling. He eventually took off the underwear in front of his father and handed it to the police. The police inspected it, and what appeared to be bloodstains and semen was seen on the underwear. Timoy Salmon, he was arrested and charged for hold on and take away. You know what I mean? He was also charged for another offense. He didn't only penetrate young Kadeja from the front, he also penetrated her from back. He bugged her, and worst of all, he took her life. DNA tests were done, and DNA tied Timoy Salmon to young Kadeja. His semen was found in her back section. You know what I mean by that? DNA also tied Timoy to semen found on her bottom and on young Kadeja's pubic hair. So we are told that this case, when it was first mentioned, Timoy's family, they hired the services of Mr. Delford Morgan, attorney at law. And based on the overwhelming evidence, Timoy, he was advised to take a certain course of action. Timoy's father, he decided that no, his son will not be taking that course of action. We are told that the Obeahman told him to let the case try, your son will be set free. The father, he didn't take the advice that Mr. Morgan was giving them. So they fired Mr. Morgan and they hired Mr. Lambert Johnson. Mr. Lambert Johnson, he also looked at the evidence and arrived at the same conclusion as Mr. Morgan. The evidence was overwhelming. I am advising that Timoy take this particular course of action. The father of Timoy, he said, no, he's not gonna do it. Remember that the Obeahman told them not to worry. As a result, they didn't bother with the services of Mr. Johnson. They hired 2 lawyers. The case was set for trial in June, and the DPP herself, Paula Llewellyn, she decided that she will be the lead prosecutor in this trial. The case was tried and the overwhelming evidence was presented. And in the end, the jury, they found Timoy Salmon, who was 13 years old at the time he committed these acts. Now 17 years old, they found him guilty for all the charges. The trial judge, Mr. Courtney Day, he has ordered a psychiatric evaluation as also a social inquiry report. Timoy Salmon, he will be brought back to court on July 31st to be sentenced. At that time, we'll be updating this story. But in the meantime, the mayhem continues. Blessed love, everybody.
Tell a friend for tell a friend for tell a friend about Popeye Newslink and PNL Blog TV. Like, subscribe and share. Quicksilver sing, if we just unite, what a country this will be. If we just unite, Jamaica live in unity. If we just unite, what a country this will be. If we just unite, Jamaica live in unity. Hey, crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh, Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. I coulda sunshine or rain. Jamaica, no problem, no pain. Rude boy them no out can't tame, but me want me country back. Give me country back. To the street and the lane, everybody them start complain. Bloodshed, what a shame, but me want me country back. Give me country back. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica, the land of the sun. Jamaica become now the land